we're getting ready for tax season, and for some of us that means a lot of papers spread over a table or a room or a chair or whatever it is. But this year we're going to help you get organized, and helping us do that are our KW professional organizers. This is Samantha Christopherson, Amelia Jose Garcia Rodriguez. It's great to have you back again.
Very good with that last name.
How many rooms do you go into that are just what I described? I think every home has one, you know, the paper menagerie that's just spread over everywhere.
We go into a lot of spaces with paper. Paper is one of the most time-consuming and the most frustrating things that just keeps coming at you. So it's something that we think that you can get a handle on, but no matter what, it's knowing what to do with the papers when you get them and how to deal with them, when to let them go.
Yeah, and this is the time of year that we really start thinking about it, because it's tax time, and the question becomes all of a sudden, well, where's that receipt? Where's that paper? I have to find it. And we think, okay, next year I'm going to have it all organized and ready.
And then we forget.
And
then
we
the
forget.
following year arrives and we are still not organized. I just want to mention that every paper that you can find means one decision that you have to make. So why dealing with paper takes so much time? Because you have to make a decision with every single piece of paper. So that's why sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming.
Well, and when you see some of those rooms then that have those papers all over the place, that's hundreds of decisions that have to be made.
And we're already taxed for decisions. There's so much going on in our lives. The last thing we want to do is sit down and sort through a big pile of paper. And they say, you know, 2 inches of paper, that's half an hour of work.
Wow.
So these are the kind we want to share with you, some of the solutions that we can get.
So we just saw that picture. How many weeks of work would that room be? And that's an actual room that you organized.
Yeah.
That's an actual project that we did. We spent 3 hours in that room, the two of us with the client. And basically what we did is, to get started, if you want to do the space and paper, that's going to be very overwhelming. So we always recommend to pile all the paper, sort it, put it in boxes temporary, label it, get the space ready, and then once you have a nice space to work on, you can get started with the paper at your own pace.
I like that you do that, because I would be one of those people that would look at that and start to hyperventilate, because it looks overwhelming. It looks like it's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be, and that's why we want to set you up with some solutions that we think if you can start, you don't have to do the backlog, but if you get started now, following a new process, learning new habits, it just, all that other stuff kind of starts to melt away, and you're already in this changed way of organizing your papers, and it feels really good.
Well, I'm noticing, other than my little piece of paper here for the segment on this, that there is no paper spread over anywhere. You've just got some great organizers.
Yeah, so one of the things that when we come in with someone who's never had a filing system, or maybe that filing cabinet's so jam-packed they're just not using it, we bring in a temporary solution. It just folds up. It can fit legal or letter, which makes it super exciting. It clicks together.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, so it's a really simple solution. Again, if it's something that you know, you're a student and you're moving temporarily all the time, it fits your legal right inside, and it also fits your letter size. So it's a really great solution that you can find Staples, Home Hardware, these kinds of spaces. And then, you know, if you're not using it and you get rid of some papers, you can collapse it down. It's not taking up a bunch of space.
I like that.
Another one, pretty simple, if you don't have a lot of papers going on, it's a way of kind of keeping things together all in one place. We can't recommend enough. If you have paper, it's really, really hard if you've got a stack in the kitchen, you've got a stack in the office, you've got a stack in your child's bedroom. We really recommend, if you want to get a handle on what you have in terms of paper, keep it in one place.
Yeah, and as much as we like to think that we're in a paperless society, there are still all those papers that seem to find their way into the house.
It's easy to transition into paperless if you are familiar with computers and the internet. And there is a great app, it's called the Tiny Scanner, and you can use your phone, it's free. You can take a photo of a paper and it creates a PDF document for you.
So Tiny Scanner.
Tiny Scanner, yeah.
Okay, and you just take it and it automatically files it away, and then you can get rid of that piece of paper.
You can, yeah.
It allows you to name it, allows you to sort it into different files. So again, as Emilio said, a little bit of background knowledge and how to use applications like that. It is very intuitive. But again, with the paper, we've got physical paper, we've got things coming up. You kind of shared with us, you used this when your kids were younger.
I did. It looked very familiar to me because when the kids were coming home, and it seemed like every day there was either a form that needed to go back to school, or there was some homework they needed to do, or that test that you wanted to keep and you wanted to hold on to. So we did something like this, so each of the kids had their own space that it could go into, and I had a space and bills went into it, and it just seemed to be our catch-all in the kitchen instead of the island being the catch-all.
And what you're saying is you're giving permission for your children to take responsibility for their papers. They have a place that they can put things, and it's no longer your responsibility. You can check in, you can look over those things, but you're starting to develop those habits with your young children, and that's going to carry on through life. So they get accustomed, that gets accustomed, and then it carries on. It's great.
And you can make it fun. You can pick a color for the folder. You can have them make the label, and it can be their own creation, so they will feel better using it.
Right. And then you've got the temporary boxes there, the file boxes that you can start putting things into.
Yeah, this is the most inexpensive option. You can find them at the dollar store, probably $2-3 each. You can stack them, and you can have letter size or legal size.
And look, you've got it started already. Taxes 2017, so we can start popping things in.
Exactly.
A good reminder is that we have to carry our tax files without complications for 7 years. So you need to have 7 folders, and we just recommend that you keep those years kind of in sequence with each other. So this year, when January started, Amelia and I got very excited, pulled out one of those old files, shredded that, and made a new one for 2017.
What a great way to remember.
We really recommend, though, always talking with your financial advisor, your lawyer, making sure that you know those really serious pieces of paper, what you need to keep and what you can let go of.
Get my tiny scanner out, and then I can keep them that way.
Yes.
All right, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about keeping those receipts, what to keep, what not to keep, all those things that you need to have. Thanks to KW Professional Organizers, get us all ready for tax season. More when we come back. Stay with us. All right, it's tax time, and as exciting as that sounds, we're going to get you ready for tax season next year by getting you organized this year. And by we, I mean my guests. This is Amelia Jose Garcia Rodriguez and Samantha Christofferson, KW Professional Organizers, part of a larger organizing body in Canada.
Yeah. We are members of the Professional Organizers in Canada, so if you are looking to get help, you can go to organizersincanada.com, and you will find a lot of businesses listed there. We are there too.
Perfect. Well, we're talking about tax season because I think it's the season that we associate most with all that paper that comes in and keeping things organized. And it's the one time that we really need to have all of those things at our fingertips. And you've got some great ideas and suggestions on how we can do that.
We've put together some practical solutions, and we think that, you know, if you've never been someone who's been organized, or paper kind of just feels like this challenge, this is something that you can apply, and the peace of mind that you get. We get excited when it comes to tax time because it takes us 2 hours to file our taxes. It's a quick, simple, bring everything together and then send it to our tax agent. So it can be very exciting, and it can be something that is not a stressful event.
Yeah, well, and you walk the walk and talk the talk, because I think this came right from your abode. This is actually yours.
This is our transport, which we take to workshops and we show people how to use. So, Amelia, you can explain just
so
what it looks like.
We had a challenge with receipts like 3 years ago, and we just wanted to have them organized. What we do, we keep them until the end of the month, and then we have all the information in a spreadsheet. So we just needed a system to keep them together until the end of the month.
So instead of building up, you know, year after year, this is a monthly. You do this
And this
each
is not
month.
a shoebox. Some people say, well, I'm pretty organized. I put everything into a box. This allows you to save so much time and work. There's no sorting. You just simply find the category that you have a piece of paper for, and you put that with it. And if you're working with an accountant, you're saving their time and how much they're billing you, and they love you because it's not something that they have to go through an arduous sort and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and you think about it, at the end of the month, maybe half an hour, even less than that this is going to take for you to transfer
like
this off.
Half an hour is enough, and then you have a really good system, and you know exactly how much you spend, how much you made, and then you can sort everything out by category.
In your last segment, you were talking with James about how to, be financially healthy. this is going to be the one-way ticket to financial health. When you can see what you're spending, where your money's going, you see the papers add up, and everybody in the family can participate in this because there's very clear lines that they can follow. It's not, where do I put this receipt? It's, we've worked on this together. We can become financially healthy as a family.
Right, right. And you know, if one of those stacks is getting a little bit thicker than the others and it's not quite the end of the month yet, it's that time you kind of draw back a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
So this is one way of doing it. If you don't have wall space, you can always use a folder like this.
Right.
And basically it's an accordion folder, and you can just have, this one has 13 pockets.
Do the same thing. You would just have your, you know, your hydro,
Yeah,
your groceries
exactly.
on each of the tabs. Okay.
And what's really lovely about this is that when you start to collect this kind of information, you can look back in time and say, you know, how much do we averagely spend on groceries? And when you're thinking about maybe changing to cook new recipes, you can say, well, we already spend, you know, $400 a month on groceries. If, you know, we switched from doing this, you can make really confident decisions because you know what you normally do, what you normally spend.
Well, and I like you talking about this being a family affair too, because I always think financial literacy in kids is an important thing so that they know. I mean, I remember my son once wanting something and just saying, well, just go to that machine, Mom, and you can get more money.
Yeah.
You know, it's important for them to know that it doesn't just happen that easily, that they have a little bit of an idea.
It was something that I learned, and very much thanks to Emilio. I had a large student debt. I carried it for a long time, paying interest. And with this system, I was clear of my debt within 2 years. It was amazing. And it was because I was just aware of what I was doing.
Perfect. You've mentioned, you know, this is tax time and it's important to do these types of things. And you're working at the Working Center and helping out and helping at tax time.
Wednesday mornings, you'll find me there. I volunteer in the clinic. Anyone who's low income, individuals earning less than $30,000, you can come and have your taxes done for free by people who are trained. It is so friendly. It is so wonderful. You can get a lot of information and start to kind of educate yourself of what's it like to file taxes. And if you're super curious, you can always volunteer and get trained.
I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing. And you know, the information that you pass out makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard.
For the rest of us, you know, from the file folder and that. And I can only imagine, you know, some of the people, how thankful they are after you've been there. It starts off as one thing, as a project, as a cleaning project, I think, for a lot of us. But what you guys do beyond that is so much more. It's that peace of mind and just the lessons that we kind of all learn along the way as you're helping people get organized.
Yeah, it allows you to take full control of your finances and then to make really intentional decisions and to create that plan that you were talking before, set that emergency budget, start paying your debt if you have some, and just have a really good idea of where you are standing every single month.
And we focused a lot on the papers financially, but we can talk about this in terms of children's artwork, in terms of really important certificates that you get. How are you going to store them? Where are you going to keep them? And how much space do you want to dedicate to that? Do you want to have papers all over the house, or would you feel really well if things were easy to find and nothing was a struggle? So this applies to more than just your finances.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, when they think organizers, you know, coming into the home, one of the big fears is, but they're going to make it rid of a lot of things. And that's not the intent. The intent is to bring that peace of mind and to find out what it is that is important to them.
Exactly.
And what is not important, and sort of work within those parameters.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so we try to understand that goal that they want to achieve, and then we try to be just their hands and their brains and just help them get there. It's not what we believe or what we want, it's what they want, and we just help them to get there. And we just question a lot too. Why do you want that? Why are you doing things this way? Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? Can we try this way? And then they create their own system with a little bit of help.
And I can only imagine when it's all said and done, the smile. It's like, yay, yay, why didn't we do this sooner? Why didn't we, you know, put this all in place sooner? And
we still get emails from clients that we've worked with, you know, 4 years ago, and they're sending us pictures of the things they're doing now. Or I think of you when I've got a pile going on in my kitchen and what you'd be saying. And it is very fun. I get nervous that somebody hears me in their head, but I also think it can be a lot of fun.
You're the good voice in their head that they should be listening to. And if people want to contact you for more information about the services that you offer and the tips that they can give you, online the best way to do that?
Yeah, it's KW Professional Organizers. We also write a blog, so we share a lot of articles, and there is one about paper, and we share our system, we share what we do, the steps that you can follow to get organized with paper.
I love that. And some of the before and afters are just truly amazing. All right, well, thank you for all of the great tips.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having us. Yeah.
Back with more Daytime in a moment. Stay with us.